I'm Alex Sloan.
And I'm Stephen Sloan, and we're from Never Xtinct Murals.
Welcome to the Creative Push.
Last November, I had the incredible opportunity to document the creation of a wonderful mural in my Sylvan Heights neighborhood. This wasn't just any mural. It was the work of a talented husband and wife duo, Stephen and Alex Sloan, also known as Never Xtinct. Initially, I was eager to volunteer and lend a hand to this community beautification project. But when I discovered Alex was involved, a former student of mine from the days of teaching photography and business at Nosy College of Art, I knew I had to connect with them. Their love of art blossomed early on, fueled by their shared passion in anime, cosplay, and graffiti art. I was fascinated by their collaborative process and eager to learn more about their artistic journey. After the mural was complete, we gathered in my living room for this in-depth interview for the Creative Push. Hi guys, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your early beginnings.
I am an only child, so art has always been a big part of my life. That was really my place to escape and explore and create worlds. I've always loved fantasy and fiction and world building, which is kind of what got me into photography originally, getting to really tell a story through photographs. For the last 2 years of high school, he lived in Arkansas, and that's where we met. One of the first things that I noticed about Stephen was his art. So he would paint canvases, and his apartment was actually filled with pieces of his art that I was actually immediately drawn to. And we started dating and moved back to Tennessee.
And you both chose to go to Nosy College of Art.
So I did my first semester for graphic design, and then Teddy came in.
Yeah, I saw how much he loved it and how, I don't know, exciting it was to get to pursue art as a career, which kind of encouraged me to do it. So we both ended up going to Nosy together, and he went for graphic design and I went for commercial digital photography. I was really drawn to photography and getting to explore that.
So when you got out of college, I know, Alex, you were going to be a photographer and you did photography for a while. What made you guys decide to start your company and work together as a team?
I was working for a company doing photo retouching after I got out of college. I was still painting graffiti like before that, but there was a bunch of like legal walls in Nashville you could go to. So I went there, I would go there and paint a lot. And I got to a point where I was like, can I do something more with this? Can I actually make money? So I tried painting realism for the first time. And I remember it was a tree frog. I'll never forget. I painted a tree frog, and I was kind of thrown back because it actually was decent, and I did not think that I could do that with spray paint at the time. You know, it was like murals were a thing kind of in Nashville at that point, but it wasn't like super big. Like the art scene in Nashville is like blown up now, so it's been great. But then there wasn't a lot of muralists then. So I kind of saw like, okay, we can paint realism with this. Can we push it further? Because I was always into like painting characters anyways. I started pushing into that. I then started getting like just small kind of murals like here and there while I was working at the other company. And it was kind of just word of mouth. I think I reached out at first. I think I cold emailed a bunch of places. Like, honestly, I think that's how I started. I just like emailed as many companies and just being like, hey, I'm starting out, would love to do murals, want to bring some stuff to Nashville. We got some responses, and it started to like take over, like, oh, okay, I might need to take a couple of days off to do this mural from this other job, so I got to take time off. So that started stacking up. We started getting more and more, and then we got our bigger job. The first one was for the Nashville Zoo, and I was still working for that company, the retouching company at that time. And so we got the big one for Nashville Zoo, which kind of like, oh, this can be something that we could do full time. Like, this is it's worth it. Then the pandemic hit. And so once the pandemic hit, our company, they pretty much laid everybody off. It was a large company, but then they just laid everybody off. And then I was like, well, I guess we're doing this full time now. They kind of like made my decision for me. Alex still had her full time for photo retouching at that time. And
yeah. So I was working at this time, actually doing the same thing as Steven, but at a different company. When the pandemic hit, I got moved to working at home. He really wanted to try to pursue doing the murals full time. You know, he had some murals under his belt at that point. You had done some canvases for people, and the response had been so great. And it was something he was so passionate about that I really wanted him to pursue that and start it. And so with my job, you know, being secure, we decided to take that leap. He started painting full time.
And how did you come up with the name?
My family, like the history is kind of like, it's supposed to do with like Native American, like that's kind of like our heritage. And so it was kind of just paying roots to it, like paying respect. I feel like art also at the same time is never going to go away. And so it's like, no matter what, it's always going to be around. And so it like never extinct. It's never going away.
Yeah. After you pass, art is kind of your legacy, and it continues to tell a story. And it's something also that we don't want to see. The arts are so important. We don't want that to go extinct. We want that to live on.
Is there any one thing that you wish you had known when you got started?
So we've definitely learned a lot during this process, especially not having a lot of people. There wasn't really a guidebook, to how you create a business as a muralist and being a business owner and an artist, which actually NOCI really helped us with. And a lot of our knowledge in building our business came from learning how to run a business as a photographer, how to market yourself. It's really a learn as you go, try as you go, trial and error. One of the things that you always talked about, was having a contract and protecting yourself and protecting your client, especially with things that are out of control.
And also, like that, there's like paint colors from when you go on a design, paint colors are not exactly, they're going to be super close, but they're not going to be exact. It's really hard to like match digitally what you're painting in the real world, but it can be very, very close. But like she was saying, the contract, that's probably the biggest thing that we learned, because coming from like graffiti and street art and all of that, like you're just excited to like get your work out and see it. Like you're just like, that's what made me so excited, like painting graffiti. Like I wanted to express myself and see it out in the world. And so when we started, I was just super excited to get the mural gigs, and I just jumped straight into it, not thinking, sometimes like, oh, we need a full contract before we start this. And the first couple jobs didn't burn me at all. Everything was great, but you always hit that one job that somebody doesn't want to pay exactly on time or do exactly what you need when they're supposed to. And so that's when I learned, oh, we need a full contract at all times and never do anything without that.
Because you're spending a lot of money out of pocket for paint and materials and things like that. And I think that's probably the biggest failure of all artists, is the fact that we want to do the art. We don't want to do the business. But if you're turning it into a business and it's a lifelong goal, then it has to be wrapped around the business as well. Yes. So you have to kind of think of both sides.
Yeah, that would probably be one of our biggest messages to young artists, is to think about those things and protect yourself, have it in writing. You always said, it doesn't just help you, but it helps your client as well. You both want to be protected from, things that are out of your control.
Yeah. And you want a good experience.
Yeah.
Because happy clients mean, and you said word of mouth. So happy clients mean that they're more likely to say, "Hey, I know this person that can do this mural for you, and that helps you grow your business as well.
No, 100%. In Nashville,
absolutely.
it's like Nashville's a huge like word of mouth kind of town.
From the beginning, I had always helped Steven on his projects. I was always helping set up. I paint, and I've always painted acrylic, so I would help, paint small things within the murals, just helping pack up and help
make sure
the
everything's
process
streamline the process.
Yeah, streamline the process. And so once I was laid off from my job, he asked me if I wanted to come full time with him, and actually be more involved in the process and in the painting process and the back end of things. And it really became a partnership. At that point, I kind of moved from a support role to a more active role in the business.
Who are your influences? Who are your creative influences?
I was super into this guy named Alex Party. He does like grungy kind of like monsters and stuff. Like that was like when I was in graffiti. That's like, I don't know. I loved his work. Kind of got into that a lot. Got me into like characters and stuff. And then now as I progress like into more like street art and like doing murals, there's some of the like just big muralists that travel a bunch. So like Tristan Eaton, I like love his style. Like he's such a good artist.
We take a lot of inspiration from street artists and graffiti artists. I mean, we take some from fine artists as well. One of my current favorite artists would definitely be Jex. He's a street art muralist.
He travels a bunch. He travels everywhere.
He does a lot of large scale pieces.
Well, and I guess your generation kind of grew up with anime.
We watch tons of anime. We love Cowboy Bebop is probably one of my favorite artistic.
And that inspires you with your art
Yeah,
too?
so that kind of like, and as I was a kid, like anime wasn't as big of like, now it's totally different. It's kind of like
now it's a whole subculture and world of it. I mean, it was definitely a subculture.
It had a subculture, but it wasn't as like
popular.
It was more frowned upon kind. But now it's like a huge thing. Everybody loves it, which is awesome. I'm glad that it like progressed. All of the shows back then, like just the art in it was really cool to see as a kid, and it kind of just opened my mind. Like, look at what you can do with art. You don't have to like stick to the classical art, which I love and I understand, and it paved the way for a lot of people. But there's definitely just, you can do any way you want. You can go any way you want with art. So there's not like you have to stick in an exact route to do something.
Do you feel like you have a style, a technique with how you paint?
I think that's kind of what's cool about murals is we really encompass a lot of different techniques. So obviously spray paint is our main medium that we use. Steven is actually the one who taught me how to use spray paint and how to hold the can and how to properly paint with it. We also use acrylic, so that's kind of more my wheelhouse.
The smaller detailed things.
Yes.
That's where graffiti kind of paved the way for me, because I learned, it was like 20 years of like learning can control, learning all the different techniques and like looking at different stuff and being like, oh, I want to try that. That's a cool technique, something totally different. And it's kind of like any art. You look at other people and you take inspiration from it. And so it definitely taught me how to like use spray paint like efficiently. It paved the way for the murals now, because without it, it's just, it taught me so much technique wise.
And what is creativity to you, to each of you?
It's the freedom to express yourself and tell a story. So talking about anime, talking about graffiti, art is definitely a world that allows us to express ourselves and connect with other people. So most of the people in our life are creatives and
friends wise.
Friends.
Yeah.
And people that we've met. And art has really been the connecting factor in that. So I would say that's what creativity is for me, a way to connect with the world.
Being able to express yourself. I just love to like when starting out with graffiti, it's just like seeing your stuff out. Like, so just having fun, kind of like, just because I still love to. I mean, murals is like, it's fun. It's a fun job, and there's always going to be those days where it feels grindy, kind of. But that's anything you do. But I love, like, I have the love for it. So like it definitely is. That would be creativity to me. It's just expressing yourself, having freedom, like she said. Do what you want.
I've known Alex for at least 10 or 15 years. Alex was one of my students at No College of Art. This is the first time I've met Stephen. Sylvan Heights hired you with a grant from the state, I guess.
Yes, correct.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Mary Breen reached out to me. I did a mural for one of her friends. So she contacted me, and she was wanting to go through Metro Arts to get funding for a mural in the Sylvan Heights neighborhood on the CSX bridge. So she reached out to me, and we just started discussions about it, what all it would take, what all was needed to kind of get through the entire process, because CSX there's a lot of paperwork and stuff you got to do when you paint a bridge like that.
Walk us through the steps. You get hired to do a mural.
Yes.
What is the steps from the beginning of when you meet with that client to when you start painting, and then what are the steps with the painting?
In the beginning, we usually just have like a phone call or something with the client after they reach out to us. We just kind of discuss what they're looking for out of a mural, what the size is. Are we talking large scale, smaller?
What their goal is with
subject,
it, like why they want the mural. What they were wanting to express with it.
And also you have to like kind of figure out where we are budget wise. Depending on how intricate it is, that's kind of like how we base our stuff. It's square footage, so we have to talk with the client like, this is how much square footage we're dealing with. I'll send you an estimate over. We can discuss that to make sure, this is where you want to be. And then we start talking about design kind of after that. And then we'll do the design process, which is a huge part of it, because you're putting something on a wall that's going to last for years most time. So it's kind of like a big deal to design.
And how are you coming up with the designs? Are you using Procreate?
Yes, Procreate's like the most amazing app. I swear. Procreate is insane. It definitely changed everything where artists can like streamline it. Yeah, it's super easy to jump on your iPad, design what you need, change stuff on there really easy. You don't have to sit on.
It's very mobile, so you can
change it, take it with
you,
you, show the client there with the iPad. You don't have to have, send it to them through an email on the computer, and then you're stuck looking at that. So it definitely opened that up. Once you get the design, that's kind of like the biggest thing I think in the getting ready for the mural is getting exactly what they want, color wise.
Definitely where Steven's graphic design background like comes super in hand. So Steven is actually the one who designs everything. We have collaboration where we talk about like, do we want to add this? Do we want to take this away? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's really Steven who's sitting down with the iPad, hand drawing everything out, using his graphic design background to lay everything out in a way that like the client is really going to connect with, and not everyone else is really going to connect with.
Yeah, and the design is like, and sometimes it can be super easy on design. You have different clients, and then sometimes there's like 6 people, which is totally fine. Like there's some of the bigger clients we have, there's 6, 7 CEOs, and they all want different things. And so you have to do a fine line between this person and try to meet in the middle. It's a whole process, but it's still a fun process,
So once you have the design and you've got all the approval and the cost, the next step is to project the image onto the wall.
Some of the walls are different. Sometimes you have to prime the wall before. Sometimes the walls are already white. We usually like to do a white background because it's easier to project on white.
And when you're going in and you're laying color in after that, you want to have a clean slate. You want to have a base that's going to reflect the colors.
Yeah, pops the colors more. White
make
actually.
Them the most saturated.
Yeah. And so white helps with that. So we prime everything white. We come in and then we'll project it and get everything laid out, because the projection helps with like scale, and when you're on, like proportions, when you're on a 40-foot tall wall about like 200, you got to project or do it in a different way. There's doodle grids and other ways, but we like the projection method. Yeah, there's got to be something
you're going to follow. Because without that, like you're just a tiny little dot and front of a huge.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
it definitely
and you
helps
also
out.
have to deal with weather
Yes.
delays.
Yeah,
and
yes. Yeah. And the weather's always a factor. During the winter, it's when you're doing outside stuff, it can affect the paint a little bit. It's not terrible with spray paint, but it does make it a little more runny and a little more like the cans are frozen. So you gotta kind of deal with freezing hands the entire time. So there's just stuff like that and rain.
Really, the only weather that we can't paint in is extreme weather. So if it's raining and pouring, we can't be out there painting because obviously the paint will run.
You painted in every weather.
so once your mural's done, then you have to do a clear coat.
Yeah. So
Yeah, depending on where the mural is at. So if it's outdoors,
in the weather all the time.
it's going to be in direct sun.
Yeah, it's like most of the time we like to clear coat. Like if it's exterior, just to help. A lot of interior stuff you don't have to clear coat as much, just because it's not getting the weather. The weather is like a big factor.
Exposed to the elements.
Yeah, but spray paint is like really durable though. So like if somebody doesn't want it clear coated for some reason or anything, like the spray paint's fine in the weather. It's just eventually like the clear coat's going to help it last, those extra 2 or 3 years.
Have you had anyone spray paint over your graffiti over your?
I think that's only ever happened one time. So in Memphis, one of the art jams that we painted at was Paint Memphis, and Stephen did a portrait of Lil Nas, and I think someone came in and wrote Nas.
Oh no, they wrote something. Yeah, I can't remember.
They wrote
something on it,
like across the mural, but I think you just went down and fixed it.
Yeah, that was just like it, and that's really the only time, and that was kind of just people that don't agree with the figure that you paint, really.
In addition to painting murals, they have paint festivals all around the country. Obviously, one of the big ones is Art Basel. That's one of the coolest art festivals that I've
It's a big one. I mean,
it's
people come
huge.
from all over
Yeah,
the world.
we love it. No, we've been there twice now, and that was a lot of fun. But we do like 2 to 3 festivals a year where we kind of like we'll paint and go to these festivals and paint with
more
people.
locally. So Memphis puts on Paint Memphis. There's the Waverly Walls Art Jam, which Stephen actually helped start in Waverly, Tennessee.
Called the Walls Art Park. So it's kind of like in the woods out in Waverly. There was a contractor. He came in. I met him. He did like this little turn. It's kind of like a art day where who just come out and paint, and then we're gonna do awards for it. It was just out of nowhere. My buddy sent me the thing, so I went out, I painted at it, I met the guy. He started talking to me. He was like, hey, I really want to do a Walls Art Park where people can kind of just come out and paint. I'm like, he was super, he saw the graffiti on trains out there, and so he's like, I want somewhere
he wanted to create a legal spot where artists could come.
That's awesome.
And
practice.
And practice and paint, and
that's,
also the community could enjoy it.
I think it's been 3 or 4 years now he's had it built. So there's like 30 walls out in Waverly, Tennessee. We do like 2 jams a year. And they bring about, I think the last jam had like 70 artists out there. And they're from everywhere. I mean, people coming from Texas, from Indiana, like all over the US to kind of come paint at it. And it's been fun to like grow it. So I helped him from the beginning, just kind of set up, be like, what kind of walls do we need? How big are they? And do we want to do circle walls? Do we want to do curved walls? There's just a lot of stuff that went into it.
Connecting him to people in Nashville.
Yeah, and connecting them. So that was fun.
If you could do anything, what would that one thing be that would make you feel the proudest of what you do?
There's definitely some spots in Nashville that I would love to just like, that I've always like passed by, and I've always so like when you come over the bridge in downtown, I think it's the Jefferson Street Bridge if I'm correct, there's like 3 silos on the side to the right, and they're huge. Those murals they were always a thing and they've been around, but now they're like gaining traction and everybody's getting into them. So silos have been starting to get painted around the US, and so I would love to do like the silos as you come in downtown, just like clean it all up and do a full mural.
That'd be hard to clean up.
Oh yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would.
Project.
Yeah, you would definitely have to have like a.
You'd probably have to do a mix of projection and doodle grid, or just do a doodle grid.
Yeah, I think you could probably do it. You could probably do a project, but that's like with our projection, we do it in sections. Sometimes you have to. So yeah, you'd probably have to like hit the flat kind of what you're looking at, even though in rounds it's kind of flat. So yeah, you would just have to.
So explain what a doodle grid is.
It's basically just a guide. you know, it's kind of like when you get a tattoo and your tattoo artist puts the stencil on your arm and then tattoos it. The stencil is really just there to guide you where to go. Yeah. So a doodle grid is basically a map. It's just little images that you put on the wall that lets you
take a photo
know
of it.
Where to go. Like your nose is going to go here at this
kind
part
of to
of the
size.
grid.
Yeah, so like
Correct.
so you put a bunch of, like she's saying, you put a bunch of images, like just random stuff. You just doodle all over the wall, and then you can take a photo of the wall, and then you lay your design over that photo, and then you can see like, okay, well the nose is laying over this little X right here, and then the nose goes up to this little circle that I have up here. So you can actually follow it by all the little things you draw on the wall, and then you can actually sketch your design out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a map.
It's basically like the old school grids. You're just, instead of doing lines straight across and straight up and down, you're doing doodles.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's faster.
Yeah, faster, easier.
and
You don't have to
can
line everything out perfectly
you can,
straight
You
and
can
straight.
throw it up there and but it's all just to keep things proportional.
Okay.
And let you know.
What do you see in your future?
Well, hopefully more of this, continuing to do this.
Well, you guys are traveling too, right? You're doing some murals
we do
out
a
of
little
town.
traveling. Yeah, so we've
I
done.
think we've and speaking of goals, like I would love to do the silos also, but I would say my biggest goal would be to get to travel overseas. And paint overseas. We would love to expand out and just get to paint cool locations. It's fun to get to travel to a different town and meet the community and meet people, see them getting excited about art. That's probably one of the parts that we enjoy the most. Well, maybe, I mean, it's equal with painting the art, but it's so rewarding to see people who connect and are inspired and
and they loved it, and that's like, so we went and painted in Missouri. Yeah, it was Missouri. We did like Blue Springs. We did Branson and Blue Springs, but Blue Springs doesn't have that many murals like at all. It's kind of like, it's on the side of Kansas City. It's right outside of it by like 30-45 minutes. They don't have like any murals, and so we just did a large scale one there, and it was really cool. We had a lot of feedback from the community during that, and it was cool to see people just stopping and appreciating it and being like blown away
and getting excited.
Yeah, they were excited to have something like that in their town, and just it's fun. It's always rewarding. So
so I documented kind of behind the scenes of the mural in the neighborhood here in Sylvan Heights. You guys painted the railroad overpass, or the sides of the railroad overpass, and that was fascinating to me to see all the people, because you were doing a lot of that at night because it was a one-way through and you couldn't block off the road, so we had security guards and all that kind of stuff. But I found it fascinating how excited people were when they'd drive by. They'd roll their window down and say how much they loved what you guys were doing and all that sort of thing. That has to feel really good.
It does.
It's like a beautification thing of a neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's why this job, I think, is so fun, because it's not only like what we love to do, but like we said, it's just so rewarding. So like it's adding something to this, like wherever you are, it's adding color, it's adding life, instead of just having like some boring wall that people are just driving through. It excites people as they drive through their daily thing now. Like these people get to experience, a bridge now that's actually painted, instead of just having this 100-year-old bridge that's got grime and stuff on it that's just been sitting there forever.
And like you said early on in the interview, you're telling a story.
Yeah, well, and that's something that's really cool to see the different parts of that people connect with. So something that's always so fun is when kids especially get excited about it. So we had a couple of kids come by, and when they don't know, that like being a muralist is a profession that, they can grow up and create art of their own, and to see them getting excited about that or connecting with a piece of the mural that makes them want to take a picture with it and want to go home and create their own art is really cool. We've had that on a couple of murals where we've got families come by and we've got to talk to their kids and we've got to take pictures with them.
Is there any advice you'd give to some other artists that might be starting out?
Don't give up. It's so easy to get discouraged and to listen to all the outer noise. One of the cool things about art is, there aren't rules that
you can do what you want.
You have to.
you can do what you want. You can do, and especially when you're starting, like you kind of want to just figure out where you want to be with it, like what you want to do with it, where do you want to go with it. Like you get to just, it's all you. So there's no, like, you just get to decide everything. So just, figure out where you want to be and what you want to do with it, and just
bet on yourself and stick with it.
Yeah. And have fun with it. And like, it's something, I mean, not everybody can do it. It's the thing. Like, it's with anything, any job. Like, not everybody can do it. And if you're into it and you like it and you love it, just
stick with it.
Stick with it. I mean, my drawings in the beginning were nowhere near what they are now. And so, you start at a place and you can progress.
So, Alex, you've kind of put your photography on hold. Do you miss it? Or do you really enjoy what you're doing now?
I really enjoy what I'm doing now, but I definitely still do photographs. When we first got started and throughout this entire process, I'm kind of the one that has taken all of our content, because even as an artist, you're also everything else too. You're your own marketer, you're your own social media manager. So I have gotten to still create that way and have fun with it. And in a lot of ways, it's made me enjoy photography more because it kind of took the pressure off and getting to just create on my own and do things that I like.
Well, and you do shoot for the website. I mean, I can tell all the pictures on there are very high end.
Yeah, so I still photograph all of our stuff, and we actually have plans. So we want to offer prints of a lot of our murals, because that's one thing that we've been getting asked a lot recently is where can we buy a print of this? Do you offer prints? So that's definitely something that we also are planning to offer in the future.
Yes.
People can find your work online.
Yes.
Instagram
Yes.
And a website.
We
And I'll
got
include
Instagram.
that in the show notes.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Instagram, websites, that's how we do a lot of our stuff. And then
Yeah.
word of mouth, like we said, like pretty much all of that together is how we do everything marketing wise.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys on the
Yes,
podcast
it's been great.
and the video.
Thank
Yes,
you
we
so
love
much
it.
for
Thank
having
you.
us. We were excited when we were working on the bridge that this was in your neighborhood and getting to reconnect with you.